If somebody asks you to do something unreasonable, you wouldn't want that person as a friend anyway. So it kind of eliminates the problem. Default to yes. When you meet people during the breaks today, your attitude should be, how can I help this person? As opposed to, how can this person help me? And if you have these three characteristics, you will build a foundation of likability and trustworthiness. The third thing is to get ready. 3 ways. First, I think the key to great enchantment and the key to great evangelism is you build something that is deep, intelligent, complete, empowering, and elegant. The 5 key characteristics of a great product or a great service. Depth refers to the quantity of features that it can do, that you've anticipated what people will need to do with your product as they come up the power curve. Intelligence means that you have seen a product, you've seen a problem and understood a problem before perhaps the customer has even seen it. That you have anticipated what they will need. A great example of an intelligent product is something from Ford. So, I have a 17-year-old son who's a driver, and I really want to buy a car right now. I want to buy a Ford Mustang GT500, a Shelby Mustang. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds, 550 horsepower. This is like total badass, midlife crisis, Asian male kind of car, right? But there's one big danger lurking in my brain, which is inevitably my teenage sons will drive the car. So would you want to put a 550 horsepower car in the hands of your teenage boys? The answer is no. However, Ford has come up with a product called My Key. And the way My Key works, it's based on Windows, isn't it? My Key works is you program the top speed of the car into the key. So I could give my kids the key that is limited to 55 miles per hour. Now, it doesn't control how fast you get to 55 miles per hour, but that, I think, is a very intelligent product. Complete product, great software is not just the digital download. It's the download, it's the online forum, it's the PDF, it's the manuals, it's the infrastructure, the totality, the ecosystem around it. Empowering means that your product makes people more creative, more productive, gives them peace of mind. And the last thing is elegance, human interface. This is Apple's specialty. And so, lots of people ask me, what's the key to evangelism? What's the key to enchantment? And the key, I will tell you, is called Guy's Golden Touch, which is not whatever I touch turns to gold. I wish that were true. Guy's Golden Touch is whatever is gold, Guy touches. The key to evangelism and enchantment is you find something great, something that's dicey. That's easy to enchant people and evangelize people. It's very hard to enchant people or evangelize people with crap. Okay? Second thing in preparation for launch is to make your positioning, your marketing, your phraseology, all your descriptions of stuff short, sweet, and swallowable. Which means you don't use a lot of jargon. You don't call it the 5th paradigm of mobile internet access. You don't use all that kind of IEEE standard stuff. You make it short, sweet, and swallowable. This is an example. Right after 9/11, this ad agency in New York called Corey K came up with this great saying. If you see something, say something. It's that simple, right, to fight terrorism. The third point is to conduct a pre-mortem. Most organizations conduct a post-mortem. The way a post-mortem works is if your product fails, you try to figure out why it failed. The problem with this theory is that at that point, everybody's angry, everybody's defensive, many of the best people have left. So what good does a post-mortem do in business? Not much. The way a pre-mortem works is this. Well, first let me tell you, if you've ever been in a product group, a product planning session, and someone asks, does anybody have any issues? Does anybody see any problems on the horizon? Most of the time, no one says anything. And that's because you don't want to speak up and antagonize the people on the team. You also don't want to appear as a naysayer, a laggard, a negative person. So those kind of questions never get answered. The way a pre-mortem works is you say, okay, let's assume our phone fails. Let's assume our software fails. Let's assume our website fails. Let's assume it's dead. Okay, it failed. We blew it. Everybody come up with the reasons why it failed. This is a lot less threatening to the group. So everybody comes up with reasons. Too many bugs, not enough distribution, a dependence on AT&T. And now in this setting, it's a very different discussion, because now you're not calling the software manager bozo because the software has a lot of bugs in it. You're saying one reason why it hypothetically died is the bugs in the software. So then you go down the list and you figure out, well, how do we fix all the problems that could occur that could kill our product? That's a pre-mortem. Could not be pre-mortem. The fourth thing is to actually launch this thing. Key point, tell a story. You know, great launches occur because someone tells a story of efficacy and power, a story of how my, wife had this kind of cancer, so I dedicated my life to curing this cancer, or why your kid had trouble with math, so you created this math website, all this kind of thing. Tell a story. It very seldom works that you say, we're ushering in the fourth paradigm of mobile internet computing today. Very seldom. Okay? Tell a story. Next thing is plant many seeds. I think there are two theories of marketing. The old theory is that marketing is top-down. This means that you suck up to the A-list and the journalists. You suck up to the Wall Street Journal, suck up to Business Week, Forbes, CNET, Wired, and all that. Then the David Pogues, Walt Mossbergs, all these powerful people, the tech crunches of the world, they tell the hoi polloi, the great unwashed masses, we like this thing. Therefore, you great unwashed masses, you should listen to us because we are the oracles of the future, and believe us, and you go try this phone, you go try this website, you go try this service. That's the old theory. The new theory with the internet is that you really don't know who will be your greatest supporters. It could be Lonely Boy 15 on Twitter. Okay? And the key here is that if it is Lonely Boy 15 and a bunch of Lonely Boy 15s and, Justin Bieber fan, then you have to approach marketing in a completely different way. There's no way to identify Lonely Boy 15. You have to plant a lot of seeds. Not window boxes, fields, because you just never know who will embrace you. And I would make the case that if you look at some of the great successes, Twitter, Facebook, all these things, it wasn't because at the start of those companies, some expert, some A-lister said, Twitter will succeed. It's quite the opposite. Twitter succeeded because Lonely Boy 15s loved it and spread it. And finally, one day, all the A-listers and all the journalists had to concede that despite their negativism and their skepticism, my God, Twitter is succeeding. And at that point, they had to talk about Twitter, because if they didn't, they looked stupid. So the key to this kind of marketing is plant a lot of seeds. The irony is that in a world of customization that's possible because of all the technology and all the mobile stuff and all the great stuff, the irony is we need mass marketing. Because you need mass marketing to reach the Lonely Boy 15s. And the third thing is to illustrate using salient points. That is, to talk about yearly costs instead of miles per gallon. Who really knows what the impact of a miles per gallon number is on the side of a car? That's why they now tell you yearly costs. Degrees versus heating costs. Turn your thermostat down to 67 versus what? How much it'll save you. People want to know how much it'll save you. And then in the iPod, MP3 business, 16 gigabytes of storage. What does that mean on my phone? What does that mean on my iPad? What it means, the salient point is the number of songs, the number of movies. Use salient points, not necessarily statistics. The fifth point is to overcome resistance to your enchantment, because you will encounter resistance. This is a picture of the Nintendo Family Computer System. It was introduced in the mid-80s when the video game business sucked. The video game business was completely tarnished